Welcome to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast.
Wherever you find American troops today, you find the men of the Transportation Corps. Enough and on time. That's the story we tell you today. The story of the Army Quartermaster Corps.
These youthful servicemen are members of the Army's Military Police Corps.
One of the most important forces behind the lines, the Army Ordnance Corps.
Welcome to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast. I am Sergeant First Class Adam Ross, Public Affairs NCOIC for 19th Expeditionary Sustainment Command. And today we have a very special episode because we are joined by one of the original guests on the podcast. And sir, thank you for joining us. We are joined by Brigadier General Stephen L. Allen, Commanding General for 19th ESC. So, sir, it was a long time ago. Sat down for, seemed like kind of a crazy idea, a podcast for 19th ESC, and we're still doing it.
No, it's great to see the podcast taking a different life, and all the people, the guests that we've had on here to be able to talk through whether it's inside of 19th ESC or Team 19 or across the spectrum of Area 4 to contribute to what we've created. And it's really great to see, and a lot of great feedback.
And the original endorsement from you being one of the original guests. I'm sure people would listen to that one, but we've kept on chugging, more than 40 episodes, and we have you on this one because it's a little bittersweet. When this one comes out, we'll be just a few days removed from your change command ceremony. We'll be bidding farewell after just about 2 years in the seat. So let's get into it, sir. Though we've been talking about it a little bit off mic, but what do you remember from those first couple weeks here in Daegu as just taking command of 19th ESC?
Well, I got to rewind just a little bit, and that was the preparation coming over to the peninsula, and that was done with the chief of staff and the team, and we are in full COVID-19 environment. The first wave had just passing through Daegu and was just starting to hit the United States. And the team that did the preparation for me, some of the briefings, scenarios, calendar, all that kind of stuff helped. And then I came over first alone, so I was in 14 days hard quarantine when I first arrived in May of 2020. And so I had additional preparation inside my quarantine area with the team bringing me products to be able to learn, read, and try to understand. But really, right after I took over on the 9th of June, it was hang on to the bullet train because it was a fast pace from then on, and it really hasn't slowed down.
And so shortly after taking command, sir, you started meeting some of the influential leaders, both military and civilian, here in Daegu area. So the governor was one of the first ones you met, I think you said?
That's correct. It was part of a key leader engagement strategy to first link in with the governor of Gyeongguk Province, followed there immediately after with the mayor of Daegu. And then from there with the other city leaders within Daegu, to include here in the Namgu district. But I left that more with the USAG Daegu garrison commander and proceeded to build off of that. That was in conjunction with the rock mill engagements that we did.
And so prior to coming to 19th ESC, sir, did you have much knowledge of or experience with the U.S.-Korean alliance?
Very little, except for my time from 2002 to 2003 when I did several citywide trips during that time from Fort Riley to understand the reception, staging, onward movement, and the draw of some Army preposition stocks out of Camp Carroll. Other than that, very limited. And
so what were your initial impressions then of meeting some of our partners over at 2OC?
Extremely ironclad rock U.S. alliance, the first engagement was with the previous 2OC Chief of Staff, and then later on with the 2OC Commander, and immediate sharing of what we would experience in the future with not only the CCPT, but also the Korean Rotational Forces. And after adding them up, it's 4 CCPTs and 3 Korean Rotational Forces, and everything in between. And it's been absolutely phenomenal working with 2nd Operational Command.
And one of the battles we would face with our civilian and military counterparts down here, sir, we talked about it in that very first episode. We were still very much in the thick of the fight against COVID-19. But coming to take command of 19th ESC, you knew that Daegu was kind of at one point ground zero for the COVID epidemic. But talk a little bit about those early phases with those community military leaders shaping the fight against COVID.
Well, my predecessor, Major General Mark Sinley, set the conditions because he was here and he experienced it. Numerous meetings throughout the day with higher headquarters and also the city leaders to make sure that they were staying in contact and in support of city leaders. And when I ended up arriving here, we were still down here anyways. We were still in HPCon Charlie, and I got out of. It changed to Bravo just about when I was getting out of the 14-day quarantine, and so I looked around and I thought, okay, this is probably, I can work through this piece here because back in the States we weren't really that level that we were doing here, and the part that stuck with me was the twice weekly higher level engagements, working through any HPCon mitigations or COVID-19 mitigations way before the vaccinations were available, and then making sure that we had our core tenets instilled and enforced, and then as we worked through the summer, mask wear was common, on, off, in buildings, everywhere, and just when we thought we were going to be okay heading into the later summer, we snapped back to HPCon Charlie. And that really gave me a different perspective because now I'm living it for the first time. And that lasted about a month or so. And you could tell there was some wear on the people, the new people that just arrived that had been held based on conditions. And then the floodgates opened up and we started bringing people on. But you could tell across the force that it took a little impact on freedoms, movements, things like that, and so it's different compared to where we are right now.
Definitely, sir. Yeah, we I arrived in the Charlie period, and so we're like that when it first switched back to Bravo, it was just a little bit weird, and it kind of felt like recently when we went back to Bravo, and we've there's team members that we had never seen without their masks on. That's how when the mask came off recently, that was kind of a big transformation. And so let's talk about that experience from that taking command, sir, to this point. What are some things you think you'll take away from your time at 19th ESC?
Just the area itself. You have Camp Walker, Camp Henry, Camp George, and you can relate to probably small town back home with there's no stoplights on Camp Walker, Camp Henry, or Camp George. You can walk the perimeter on Camp Walker in about 45 minutes or so, and Camp Henry about 20 minutes or so. But they're in the city of Daegu, and so the partnership and community support that each one of them has with the just outside the gates is really, really special. To have an opportunity to just walk out the gate, go to a subway, catch a subway, get a taxi, and then you're inside the city. And so there's multiple things to be able to do. And as those opportunities start to open up even more, it's really refreshing to see the city come alive with the capability of everything that they were able to do pre-COVID. Baseball games, theater, arts. I'm hearing things now about CHIMAC that I have not experienced in the time that I've been here. And so it's really good to see, doing the hard time when I first got here, to see it opening up. It's really refreshing.
Yeah, that is an interesting way to put it. The contrast between small town and big city, because it truly is a unique experience just walking outside the gate, and we've been places like JBLM, sir, where it's a big city experience, maybe on the post, but right outside it's wilderness. That's definitely not what it is here.
No.
And so we're heading into transition period, sir, with a lot of PCSs. What certainly a challenge here in Korea, the constant state of transition we find ourselves in with people coming and going. What are some things you've seen, ways to build strong teams here in Korea dealing with that reality?
From compare and contrast from summer 2020, when we held the PCS moves because of COVID environment. Really taking a look at what that looked like from a sponsorship perspective, and building on that to make sure that people knew coming into a COVID environment what to expect, the mask wear, the enforcements of the tenants. That really hasn't changed now, even though we're starting to see a lifting of the restrictions that we had in place. The sponsorship is still critical. Reaching out on whatever social media to link in with that soldier or family, to make sure that they're ready to come over, and then to catch them, when that first initial meeting is up at Camp Humphreys, to their final destination, whether it's up at Camp Casey, Humphreys, or down in this area, to get them settled in, get their family settled in, and make sure that they're confident in what they're about to take on as an assignment in Korea, which we like to say assignment of choice. But those are words. You have to back that up with action by leaders at echelon.
And I think we're seeing even a constant a change in that family environment too. Like when we got here, there's a lot of people living off post. Now they just opened Tower 3 on Camp Walker. They're still building Tower 4, and so we're bringing families together. Even increasing this community feel, because I think something we tell a lot of people is that we have a real community here among service members and family.
Nope, I agree. It's our U.S. Army Garrison Daegu leadership goes above and beyond to make sure that this area has what it needs in the small town environment within a large city. And the little things matter. They really do to provide, whether it's PX, or the commissary, or the clinic, or MWR, and the activities that they go above and beyond to be able to make available for the families and their students and small toddlers.
Mm-hmm. And when this comes out, sir, we'll just be close to the 4th of July ceremony, which we've experienced a couple times here on Walker, which is they really do go above and beyond with that.
They do. The fireworks here is special. The activities in this area, they're very special, and it's been really, really rewarding for Janelle and I to be living here, and we will miss this area.
And so, let's talk a little bit more about the. So we like to say assignment of choice here, and you're actually staying on the Korean Peninsula for your next assignment. So, can you talk a little bit about where you're going with that next assignment, sir? And did your positive experience here at 19th ESC make that transition a lot easier for you?
Well, that's an interesting question. We'll be heading up to Camp Humphreys in July timeframe, early July, and I'll be headed to USFK to be the J4. And living down in this area, based off of day-to-day interaction with both military and civilian leaders, but also the people in this area, have really helped moving up into that area to understand the scale and scope of what I'll be doing next. Let alone that exploring a little bit more of area 2 and 3, because I pretty much stayed down in the area 4 based off of the COVID restrictions, and was able to get out and about and see as much as I could down in this area, because there's a lot of history and a lot of opportunities to see things on the peninsula.
Yeah, and talking with a lot of the leaders that come through this podcast, one of the constant themes we touch on is just the unique experience of working with KNs and Korean Service Corps teammates in our day-to-day missions. You want to touch on that, sir?
We have the opportunity to work with a variety of civilians, our Department of the Army civilians, our Korean nationals, our Korean Government Service, our Korean Service Corps, all of which are part of the team. They're Team 19, to include all of our strategic partners and their Korean nationals and Korean Government Service, as well as Korean Service Corps. And it's really special to see the work ethic, the drive that they have to help us do the overall mission. I'm gonna miss it.
And I know, one of the unique aspects of 19th ESC is, of course, Area 4, the largest geographic area in Korea, but we're not limited to Area 4. And I know you've gone up to Area 1 a few times to see give maintenance awards to KSC and KN members up there.
Yes, we are spread across the peninsula, all 5 of the battalions, and it takes a little bit of time to cover from the Busan area all the way up to the JSA, where we have presence up there supporting the mission set. And it's very rewarding to get out and about and try and meet everybody over a 2-year period of time. And I'll say that I wasn't able to do every single location to meet everybody, but I did put up forth a good effort to get out and about, be visible with Command Sergeant Major Peters, and be able to make a difference. And there's always opportunity to talk to leaders on the ground about what they want to do next.
And so, sir, in that first podcast, I put it to you what every soldier counts and Team 19 or other phrase mean to you. So in getting ready to leave Team 19, do you have any parting thoughts on those phrases, or maybe advice for the Team 19 members?
Yes, it means a lot, and for everybody that is coming into the unit or the organization or anywhere down here with our strategic partners, our rock mill partners. Every single person in this organization counts. Every soldier counts. And knowing that whether it's military or civilian, they're part of Team 19. And it's a big mission. It's a real mission over here. We know that, and we prepare for it. We train for it. And it's an assignment that you can get a lot of reward out of, depending on how you look at it. If it's one of those looks that here I've got to go do a hardship tour for 12 months and then I'm waiting to get back, it might give you a different perspective. If you come in and your sponsorship there providing opportunities for what you can do versus what you can't do, it'll open up doors for you, achieving what you want to do, whether it's going to school, getting out and traveling, understanding more of the culture, making a difference down in this area. You can volunteer. There's plenty of things to do in this area to make it a assignment which will be rewarding. And I do not hesitate to ask soldiers, what do you want to do next? You want to stay? What do you want to do next? You want to jump on airplanes? What else would you like to do in the future? And are you interested in staying in Korea? And it's interesting, some of the responses I get, because they like what they do, they like where they're at. And then, it's up to us to make sure that we follow through with that. Right.
Now, I would add on to that, sir, too, one of the, especially this summer with Korea more open, soldiers are able to go on those cultural immersion tours, especially for new soldiers, which is a great experience to really see the part of Korea that even just walking through the city, you might not see. And
it's really refreshing to see in the city of Daegu, and the tours here on on Camp Walker through USAG Daegu is they get a lot of use. And so when it was more restrictive, you could go to some of these sites. It was outside, still wearing masks, as long as you had the separation of distance. Well, now that's starting to change a little bit, where you can get out and go. You can walk down the street. You can catch a cab. Now you can go just about anywhere on the peninsula with a lot more freedom of movement to get out and about and see the beauty of this country.
Definitely. Well, sir, want to thank you also just personally for helping to support the podcast, helping to support all of our communication efforts within Public Affairs Shop here at 19th ESC. And you'll be missed, sir. But thanks again for coming on. And any last words you want to give out, sir?
Yeah, to the 19th ESC PAO team for getting this up and running. It's been great to see. Keep it going. Keep it going and get the message out.
We will, sir. And thank you for coming on again. And thanks to everyone for listening. And keep on listening to the Every Soldier Counts podcast.